lecture, right? Let me share the screen. Please confirm that you can hear me. Okay, thank you. And let's just see what we have got today. All right, so I have planned to cover this topics today, right? Okay, let's get started. So let's talk about data science, okay, very quickly. We already have seen the definition of big data analytics, right? There are three things: the data itself, then processing, and insight, what you have to generate, right? So there was a formal definition we have covered for big data analytics, right? Where the data has characteristic like velocity, variety, volume, etc., right? And we have to have innovative ideas, which can be, having a proper budget, right? So that was big data and analytics. There where we talk three important things. Big data, yeah, here, right? Big data is high volume, high velocity, and high variety information that demand cost-effective, innovative forms of information processing for enhanced insight and decision making. There was big data, okay? Now we are talking something called data science, okay? Now, what is data science? So again, there are three things what you need to understand here. It involves multiple disciplines, okay? So somebody asked me, can I become a data scientist? Then the answer was no. I mean, is not good for data scientist. It's better, a WEV, I mean, is suitable for V. Why? Because it involves multiple disciplines. It needs the knowledge, from various disciplines, okay? And those includes, you need to have a business acumen. I mean, you need to have the domain knowledge. Now, pertaining to medical or pertaining to, stock market, pertaining to any other business like inventory management. So you need to have business acumen, like pertaining to government, taxes, income tax, like taxes. So you need to have business acumen, that is the domain knowledge, okay? That's one thing. Then the next is a lot of mathematics, okay? Fine. And lastly, the third thing what you need is the technology expertise, where the technology is specifically information technology or, computer engineering, computer technologies. Okay, so there are three things what you need: the domain knowledge, the mathematics, and the technology, which is, be it Python, be it R, be it any other like MapReduce, Hadoop, whatever, but you need technology expertise also. So one person may not be able to, have all these three things completely with him. And that's why I said, can I become data scientist? Then the answer may be no. Can we have a data science team? I mean, can we, the team, behave and do the job for data science? Then the answer is yes, right? So in your team, you might need subject matter experts. You might have heard about SME word. I have actually worked with SMEs. Okay, they are like domain specialists for whatever product or service based things you are after. Okay, so SME, as I said, if you are working with, taxes, those who know taxation better, they are the SMEs, subject matter experts of taxation, subject matter experts of medicine, or subject matter experts of let's say sales, or subject matter experts of let's say stocks, the market, right? So SME, you will have to have somebody or more than one people who are going to have this role of subject matter experts, SMEs. Okay. The next is the mathematics. So basically mathematics is the base for, even computing. Even the word computer, what we know, compute is, just nothing but, mathematics to start with. But here it's not just plain simple mathematics. Of course, there are, a lot of algorithm what you may think of. Okay, so mathematicians or scientists who can formulate equations, algorithms, etc. Okay, so in your team you will need these guys. Okay, those who know maths or science better, who can at least create models. Okay, so the real life problems they should be able to put it into paper with some maths formula or some math solutions, or maybe the algorithmic solutions. Fine. So that's the second team member you may need. And the third one, technology experts, where we talk about software engineer, developer, data engineer, etc. So that's when the data science is actually, a teamwork. Okay, you may be, appointed as a data scientist, but then there's, a lot of stuff you will have to know. I mean, you will have to have a domain knowledge as well as, mathematics and algorithms, and the technology part, which is the tools like languages, clouds, clusters, uh, DevOps, all those things. Fine. So we now understand this term better compared to the previous moment, right? What is data science? Data science involves multiple disciplines, and which are the business acumen, mathematics, and technology expertise, right? So together, all these skills will, bring us the data science job done, right? So there is another term in the market called citizen scientist. Citizen scientist. So know that the term citizen scientist actually refer to a person or maybe a team. It can be a person also who have passion for their own field, and they utilize data publicly shared. Either they have the data, or maybe data made available to them via certain another agencies. Okay, but then in their field, once they have data, they try to find out patterns and futuristic solutions, etc. If this you are able to do this, you are termed as a citizen scientist. I mean, anybody, let's say, a cowboy, working in a farm in the state of Texas, he can be a citizen scientist. How? He is actually planning to, either have his own data from his years of experience and tools and technology what he's using, or he may rely on data from other sources like government and other NGOs, and then he will try to find out some patterns with respect to weather forecasting, or with respect to uh, the productions of grains and milk and all those. I mean, if he's able to do that, that he is a citizen scientist. Okay, so I believe you understand this word, data science, citizen scientist, etc. now better, right? So in data science, actually, this is just for humor or just for fun. Uh, when we say data science, what do you think? Which is the key word? Is it data or science? What do you think? When we say data science, which one is the keyword, data or the science? I'm waiting. So that's, I mean, somebody coined, somebody thought this is interesting to, think about. Is the data a keyword or the science is a keyword? And my answer at least is, both, right? And both together, data science is just one single, meaning. So fine. So be aware, it's not just data, it's not just science, it's together data science, which is, booming nowadays, right? So there's one more comment. An individual can learn from available titles to friends or others and their roles and responsibilities to shape their future career path, right? And data scientist is an ultimate role to achieve as an individual. in the mid 21st century, because not a single person can be, good for all these three things. And if you are good for all these three things, that means, that's the best combination. Okay. So that's the ultimate role to achieve as an individual, if you can do so. I mean, you are a technology expert, uh, you know image processing, or machine learning, likewise, and you also have the domain knowledge specifically, as well as the scientific approach, like algorithmic and equations. So aim for this, right? Data science, aim for it. Now, to support this and to let you explain a little more, I have one more site opened up, maybe here. Uh, hmm, did I? Okay, yeah. So here is one of my friend. Actually, we studied together in 11th and 12th, and prior to that, also we had a connection. And we studied here at DDU together in from 99 to 2003. Okay, he's in world's top companies, last from more than 10 plus years. Okay, and you might have seen people saying open to work, but this guy is actually saying not looking for a job. So don't bother him about job. So this is rare, right? On LinkedIn, when you see such stuff, that guy is very much settled. Okay, extremely settled, I would say. Okay. Anyways, this is one of his recent posts, which may let you understand what is data science, hopefully. So I will just read. One of a petroleum engineer asked, "How do I transition to a data science field?" Then, let's say, the friend, I mean, my friend, but somebody answered, I mean, who knew what is data science. He said, "Data science is not a separate field you can transition to. It's a discipline, skills you can apply in your own field. Is petroleum engineering, and advance your career." So here, uh, the person A, who is a petroleum engineer, he has domain expertise in the field of petroleum. Okay, and now if he has another friend who is good at algorithms and mathematics, or he himself improvise him with those skills. And of course, the next is the technology, right? To where he would have to either get help or learn Python or R, or MapReduce and other data analytical tools. So if you may be able to do so, you just actually do not need to leave your own field, which is, let's say, petroleum engineering. Okay, so you can advance your career. So with, of course, the saved information, saved steps, right? So don't leave something you have spent so much time learning. You just leverage it instead. Uh, this guy is also a YouTuber. I mean, YouTuber. Okay, you may go subscribe his Core Basics website. There also he has a lot of tutorials from for data science and machine learning and others. So feel free to refer if that helps you. Fine. Okay. So that was data science. What is data science? I hope you guys now know a little bit more what is data science, right? Any questions on that? Okay, so with that, I would close that tab, data science. Fine, you know what it is. So shall we move on to the next topic? Another little theoretical topic quickly, which is evolution of analytics. So how did analytics evolve, right? So there are a few, fancy terms here. Uh, you might have heard about few, and few might be new, right? So hindsight, what does that mean in dictionary? Is this understanding of a situation or event only after it has happened or developed? Hindsight. Okay, that's the word, hindsight. I remember visiting one of my police friend, and I saw one of his banner in his office saying, "Police are there, not to uh, do the job after the crime happens. Actually, they are trying their best to have an environment there, police know or aware before the crime happens, or it can react before the crime happens. So we know, right? When we see movies, we normally comment, right? But that's not the right aim of good police department. Anyways, so hindsight, understanding of a situation or event only after it has happened or developed. So that's called hindsight. Okay, but then there is another term called insight. What is it? The capacity to gain an accurate and deep intuitive understanding of a person. So, okay, a little bit fancy again. Intuitive understanding. That's what insight is importantly mean, right? But then there is the third one, which is foresight, or should I say foresight? Please refer to the pronunciation better. Okay, don't follow me straightforward or blindly. So foresight or foresight, forecast. Yeah, this is foresight actually. Okay, so the ability to predict or the action of predicting what will happen, or be needed in the near future. So that's the foresight. Okay, like forecast. So you should be able to predict, okay, for the future, okay, or what will need to be doing for the future. Okay. So, anyways, so keep these three terms in mind. But then there are WH questions, little bit related, and there are a few other terms also. So, if you are answering what happened, this is a past tense, what happened, then that type of analytics is actually called descriptive analytics. Okay, so this is, see, what is the topic? Evolution of analytics. Okay, so of course, the way we know evolution of www, right? Only static websites were there, then little more dynamic website came in, then the e-commerce website like login and check-in, check-out, and payment and all those things got added, right? And now we know smart websites which actually does analytics behind the scene, and gives you ahead of time a lot of curious and important information, rather than giving all even dynamic, not just plain dynamic, but smart dynamic, right? So that way the evolution of analytics, right? So very before, people were only able to answer this question, which is what happened, and there was then termed as descriptive analytics. Okay, now if you might actually also try to why did it happen, in which you are kind of diagnosing, right? Like doctor will find out all the symptoms, and it will try to diagnose, right? So why did it happen? Diagnostic analytics. Okay, now of course all these answers help us do something better. If not in the whatever we may not be able to correct or rectify what happened, but we might definitely improvise based on the learning, right? So why did it happen is actually termed as diagnostic analytics. And next, what will happen is like predictive analytics. So if you are kind of telling something about future, like forecast, so that's predictive. We know prediction, right? Prediction, right? Predictive analytics. But it doesn't stop here. So don't just think there are only three, which is one more, which is very important, is prescriptive analytics. Now, what does it mean, prescriptive analytics? So if you want to achieve something like some goals, okay, and if you dig deep into data and find out that if I will follow this path, I will make that happen. As simple example as you want to get admission into BTech computer engineering DDU, okay, maybe Grantinet. Then you go deep down in the data and find out that every year lasts from 10, 15, 20 years, almost 90% plus students open category only get admission to DDU BTech computer engineering. So what you will do? How will you make it happen to get the admission into BTech DDU computer engineering? Of course, you have to score more than 90% minimum. So that's, kind of analysis what you may do, and that's called prescriptive analytics. So how can we make it happen? So this is the need of time. Okay, all the other, what happened, why did it happen, even what will happen. If you only tell what will happen, that's also not going to help unless help little bit more to either stop it or take advantage from what will happen. So that's one way to look at the future. The other way to look at the future is how can you make something happen. Okay, uh, it's not just about what will happen. Can I make it happen? That's what prescriptive analytics is. So guys, as I said, the latest is prescriptive analytics. I hope that makes sense, right? The evolution of analytics, what we are talking about, right? So I even don't have any word for this particular analytics other than prescriptive analytics. I mean, hindsight, insight to foresight, but actually we are beyond the foresight. Okay, we are beyond the foresight, which is maybe, or you can say like foresight means both of these together. But better and better foresight is what is the need of the time. Okay, so with this, there is one more topic called industrial revolution. You might have heard about the first revolution was maybe when the wheel were found. The revolution, I mean, you go in the humankind history and find out the revolution. Okay, but here it's not just plain revolution, it's industrial revolution. Okay, so you may want to learn about industrial revolution. Okay, so right now, as per this website, or it may be a little old, fine, this article is 2 years old, so you might have to seek the latest. But industry, again, because in the era of this, we normally do versioning. So there was industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So that's industry revolution. Okay, so industry 4.0, when somebody says, oh, in the time of industry 4.0, why would you talk like this, or why would you behave like this, or why would you think like this? Okay, so what is industry 4.0? That's actually the part of evolution, industrial evolution. Go learn about it. Okay, that has to primarily do with data and machine learning, I mean AI and all. Okay, so do learn about it. What were the old industry versions, what primary things were there in those times. So learn about it. Okay, as I said, I am not kind of remembering everything on top of my head. But it's not plain computer. Okay, it's beyond that. It's industry. It's not computer industry I'm talking. No, it's industry they are talking. Okay, so know all these things and be prepared. Hopefully some more learning from here might help you crack some job interview this semester. So evolution of analytics, which is the topic we have just touched. Any questions, anybody? Are we connected? Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you. I will put this at end. Okay. So now, before I move on to some, application and programming, let me take one last simple topic. I have already touched it, but few more, bullets here. Characteristic of big data, right? So we know necessity is the mother of invention, right? So the various identified characteristics of big data and challenges, right, to address the necessity. Of course, it led inventions, right? So read all these things. These are all my writing, okay? But these are popular V's which are, characterizing big data, out of which we have already talked about volume, variety, and velocity. But there are very many more. So I would advise you to, explore all this and know what all these things are related to. Okay, for example, value is like the importantness. Okay, so that's value. Validity has to do with correctness, right? For example, nowadays people say there's a hell lot of information on on internet, right? So with your smartphone or tablet or computer, you're getting a lot of information. But then, do you know that there are actually streams or programs, by industry as well as by universities, there where misinformation, is a big challenge. Misinformation, right? So, how much information out there from the web is actually correct, and how much is misguiding or incorrect or inappropriate? So that's one more thing. I mean, that has to do with the validity, right? So there are fields, programs, if you might be interested to go after it. So you can be after one interest, which is I want to get rid of all misinformation from the web. Now for that, of course, you'll have to have a lot of algorithms, lot of data support, and I mean you can have outcome, right? But which will have to be evolving again, because people are finding ways to put misinformation on the web. And how will you make your machines smart to judge that the certain information is not correct or certain information is misinformation? So those are all the algorithmic challenges, and a lot research is needed in the area of misinformation detection or identification. So I believe you understand what the point is. So there are challenges, right? And go learn all these V's. Okay, fine. So I'll actually, they're not limited to whatever I actually noted down. There may be many more as per the people and experts. So you can expand this horizon, okay, while looking into it more. I will move on to the next topic in the row, which is this. So big data, security and privacy. That's one more area where you can go do research, right? So a lot of government agencies and even the IT giants, they are after the security as well as the privacy concerns, right? We have been knowing that so and so service might not be available after so and so date in so and so company because of the privacy concerns, government initiatives, and securities breaches and all. Many times you might also have heard that so and so company is required to have its data center into certain continent or certain country itself. It cannot literally have the services with a data center outside the country or the continent for privacy or security concerns, right? So nowadays, in the past, let's say if you take gold or something out of the country, there are rules, there are laws. Now even you should know that even the data which is stored via the World Wide Web users, if you are in a certain country, the data what you consume or data what you produce, primarily what you produce, that has to be stored into that country's data centers. I mean, such rules are under constructions, and I mean a lot of implementation already have been happening. You might have heard about the same thing. So it's a big deal, the security as well as the privacy, and that's when government or the other agencies have to take certain roles, or they have to intervene, right? So one of the risks involved with big data and analytics is the security and privacy. Now, imagine this: all the data you are providing to somebody who knows the technical part, okay? But then, I mean, there is a risk because you provided all the data. Now, that guy, what will he learn, and what will he do with that data? I mean, you even may not be able to think of it because his brain or works differently than yours, right? So what to share and what not to share. I mean, imagine if you got a blind call or call from unknown, and he is just asking you some questions, what to answer and what not to answer. Even that to decide is a dilemma. I mean, if he says, "Are you listening?" Should you say yes or should you say no? I mean, that simple question also can be risky, right? So imagine, the security and privacy concerns. If you don't provide the data, will someone be able to give you insight or decision making support? No. But if you provide the data, what might happen? I mean, again, so there has to be smart choices, what to share and what to not, and how to share and how to not, etc. Right? So one of the risks involved with big data is, as you see, security and privacy. On the name of providing better customer experience, if some companies are asking you to open all the doors and like accepting cookies and etc., right? You are actually always thinking what might happen, whatever you are providing or whatever door you are opening is, I mean, safe or not, right? Now, I remember this one mythological class, from some or other Sadguru. I don't care who he or she is. But then, he or she mentioned that you cannot close all the doors, even as a human being. For to have your friends or families or relatives, you cannot close all the doors. You have to keep some doors open. So you have to literally be very wise to know which doors you should keep open and which not. Okay, so the travel of data from continent to another, even as I just mentioned already, right, for availability sakes and all. But then that also involves utilizing a lot of rules and regulation across borders, and it's debatable. Fine. So the important technology related acts and bills, actually you might know bills, right? Acts, rules and regulations or laws, right? So information technology related acts and bills. Bills are, I think, right? In parliament, certain bill will be, produced and will be passed, etc. Even dollar is also termed dollar bill. I mean, we say not dollar not or rupee not, but it is also said bill. I'm not talking about dollar bill here. These bills are, the official documents for law-making processes and all. So there are, a lot of information technology related acts and bills. They are becoming complex and complex. The reason being, the security and privacy, right? So there are a few important technological terms you might want to know, which is called data principal, data fiduciaries, data protection authorities. Uh, okay, so you may explore all this stuff if you are interested into security and privacy. Uh, our own meeti.gov.in, like our India government website, data protection framework. I, kind of located that from, one of the source, and I have made it available here. But there are carriers. I mean, in your future, I mean, how do you see yourself? What career path you want to achieve? One of them can be, data security and privacy. I mean, you can be damn good managing all these things for companies or people or customers. Okay, so this is one more field which you can, give you a lot of gain in terms of your career. Okay, so that's when I needed to take that up. Okay, and that's definitely part of your syllabus as well. uh, don't want to waste time, but hopefully you're listening. How many students are there? 69. Very less. Guys, wake up and let your friends know. Just be here, just listen. Okay, if you cannot focus a lot, I mean, if you cannot write, and there's at least nothing to write here in our subjects for now, but at least listen, okay, so that you know what all latest happening and what this stuff mean. Okay, fine. So with that, we will move on to the next few topics. And if you remember, I mentioned to you, there are courses on swayam.gov.in from India government initiatives, right? I have already shared those links. So if you may want it, you may go for data science for engineers, scalable data science, right? And there was one more. Uh, Introduction to big data, I think, was the one. Or no? Right? There was one more. So I have already shared. So take advantage of such material from professors from IITs. Okay. All right. So with that, we'll move on to the next topic. So before I move on, let's see what is going to be there in lab 3. Okay. So lab 3 next, coming Thursday, right? We'll be actually interfacing to HDFS. Okay. So you will literally have to have Hadoop installed or access to Hadoop from cloud. Then only you will be able to perform this practical, where you will be writing commands to do file system related stuff. Okay, so how to interface or interact to HDFS, the distributed file system. So that's going to be lab 3. So let me remind you that you have to work either with cloud or with virtual machine or with Linux to be able to install Hadoop. It's not quite difficult. No, the standalone instance, I mean the sudo distributed mode, just one computer is still feasible. Okay, so please do so. There are already 5 students who turned in. Good. Others, please make sure you work in time and prior to Thursday 3:30. Finish your own work and upload here so that you will be good for lab 3. Okay, fine. I have not prepared any document to do SSH on Oracle cloud with the compute instance, but I believe you guys are able to connect one or other way. Okay, so those who actually finished, I would not click this, but those who turned in, if you are interested to share how have you worked with Hadoop, feel free so that your friends can also take advantage of the same. Okay, I actually can do this, but I don't know, people may want to, open up or not. Fine. That's what's the privacy and the security, right? I told, right, which door to open and which not. Should I click this or not? I don't know, because the students who have turned in already, they may not want, me to disclose that to others. Some of them may want, some of them may not want. That's when I have to respect privacy, or at least. So that has to be there in your mind, that every damn step involves the decision. Fine, we'll move on. Okay, so there are 2 more topics which I want to talk about. 20 minutes to go, right? Oh, how much time do we have? Excuse me, let me check. 3:20. Oh yeah, 15 minutes to go. Fine. So we'll talk about these 2 topics. We should be able to finish that up. So guys, by now you should at least have understood how MapReduce works a little bit, how the word count program works. Any questions on word count program? I would definitely want to take that up for now. Any questions on word count program? Do you understand how word count finds the frequencies out from the distributed storage? How the framework works? Do you understand that part? The MapReduce framework? There'll be more and more detail we'll be sharing with you, but do you have at least basic understanding of MapReduce framework? The key value pairs I'm talking about. Anybody who is not having any idea, or he's not, even though you try but you are not able to get what it is, please raise hand, or at least speak up. Maybe our friends may answer if I may not want to repeat the similar content. Some of the friend might answer too. Anybody wants to learn or if not able to understand how MapReduce works? So there are 2 functions, right? Map and reduce for now for us. Behind the scene, there are sort, shuffle, combiner, splitter, and there are more, right? So for us, we know that it generates at least the word count. It generated the key value pair for every word, and the sort, shuffle, or combiner, came up with bucketing or kind of partitioning mechanism via which every reducer is given the same exact key to come up with the answer. So word, let's say Bombay, all the key value pairs for the word Bombay, those all pairs are given to the reducer function instance 1, and then it will do, plus plus plus, be it 1 plus 1 plus 1, or be it 5 plus 7 plus 3, but it then finally counts how many times the word Bombay has occurred. And that way, the same function of reducing, the reducer function, another instance of that function will work on the another set of data, for example, the word Monday. And then it will know how many times the word Monday has occurred. And what it does, it generates the outcome saying Monday has occurred 97 times. That way, the previous function, the same function code, I mean the binary, but the instance of that function is different. It might have generated Bombay has occurred 595 times, likewise. So then all this final outcome, which are the word and their frequency, they are again there are intermediate spaces to files to be written, but then the final is in the output folder. It writes in terms of files line by line, and that's your result. That's word count. The difference here is doing the distributed environment way. Is actually the data is also on multiple computers, as well as the computing is also happening on multiple computers. And we know the concept of moving code to data. That's in place. Okay, that's in place. And we know the whole framework: name node, data node for the storage part, as well as we know the resource manager and node manager for the computing part, right? So that's what it is. I mean, that's how we have got word count distributed way out from large data set, right? So if you have question, please let me know, because that this is the base, this is the beginning, and you have to be aware of this. Otherwise, furthermore, that will be difficult. Any questions? Okay, feel free to ask question again in future also, because as I said, few technical things will we will be improvising, will be going in depth, will be touching more and more. So anytime you feel like asking question, feel free. Anyways, so I'm gonna take up this topic now, which is finding mutual friends. And again, this is this can have different aims, but the aim here is you find mutual friends between every two. So you have 10 people, every two, between every two, you have to then give me mutual friends. So you may think of permutation and combinations, right? And come up, and tell me how many result pairs will be there. Okay, those who are good at mathematics, given 10 friends, what will be the resulting pairs? Where on the left side there'll be person 1 and person 2, a pair, and the right hand side is the mutual friends, list of mutual friends, which can be empty, or which can have 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 8 entries, right? So the left hand side is the pair of two friends, and the right hand side is the list of friends which are mutual or common to those two. I hope the aim is understood. Is the aim clear? Finding mutual friends between every two. Is the aim clear? Okay. Now again, what data is available, or data is in which format, etc. So we have pretend that data is in this format. Okay, which is nothing but line by line. It says person A and his friends. So one line means one person information. See, this could be graphical also. Graph component. In social media there will be graphs and all, but that's again a separate thing. We can definitely come up with these lines from the graph. Given a graph of people, and connections shows the friendship, will you be able to generate such lines? Let me ask the question again. Given a graph show where the node is a person and the age is a connection or friendship, can you come up with such lines? So Devang and Amrut says yes. How about other? Have you understood the question? I don't have a graph here, but imagine there is a graph like social media, right? Graph. Okay, and can you write a program to generate such result, which is nothing but a person name and its friend, I mean his friends, a person name and his friends, a person name and his friends. So there are many people saying yes. How about others? The answer is no, or you don't know. So Rahil says he can think of it. So that's it. I mean, only 4 students know the solution. Given a graph and generate this as output. Only 4 students know that solution. That's the same. I must say that's because see, literally speaking, I mean, you should think, okay, you are at the doorstep of interview, right? I'm not certain if any one of you got placed already, but you are at the doorstep of interview, right? And you guys are even not able to think such small thing. That's not so cool. Guys, wake up. Okay, I know you can do it. It's just that you are not actually focusing, or you are hesitating to write. None of them is going to work. You have to be, communicative. You have to participate. Okay, you don't need to care whether somebody will like it or not, whether will it be a foolish answer. Okay, so those who says yes, one of you, let's just hear from Jay. Jay, can you give us algorithm? How will you get this outcome from a given graph? You may speak up.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we can hear you, Jay.
Yes, sir. We will make the list for all the nodes which are adjacent to current node.
Okay, before I tell you, we are not actually finding the mutual friends yet. I'm just asking from the graph, can I just have this another way of representation, which is it shows, a person name and his friends. It's not showing the mutual friends. No, okay. Actually, for our original program, this is going to be the input. But I just raised a question before we actually go for the solution, where from a given graph, can you generate this lines which actually going to be input to our program, which is let's say MapReduce program. So, and it shows only nothing but a person and his friends, a person and his friends, nothing like mutual, okay, nothing like mutual, just person and his friends from a given graph. Will you want to answer now?
Yes, sir.
So how will you generate this from a given graph?
I will make the list for thread and all the adjacent node to the current node.
Okay.
All that will be making the list.
So let's take this example. I think you are going good, but you have to explain with the example. So for example, node A, right? And then all the adjacent vertices or all will be on the right hand side. So it's very much like, the degree or wherever it is connected will be on the right hand side. That's about it, right? So
Yes,
for
sir.
every vertex, you have to create one line, and which is nothing but the vertex name, and right hand side will be all the adjacent vertices. You're right. You're right. It's straightforward. That's when I thought, why would you not be able to answer? I mean, it's straightforward, right? So now at least we know what is the input. So I have this input available for my MapReduce program where, or I have a lot of files which contains such lines showing person and their friends, and my job is to create mutual friends between every two. Now how I may give the output? So for example, let's just see like this. I may be interested in showing output like this, which is what, pair of every two people. Okay, pair of every two people. Can I do this? So for this, what do I need as an input? I need to know all the person names, right? And then I may be able to do, a permutation combination for two, right? And I should be able to generate this if I do that. But on right hand side, what do I need? That is the next thing. Okay, that is the next thing. That is actually on the right hand side, I need common friends. You see B and E. Okay, so actually B, let's just see, common friends of A and C. What is the answer? Is it BE, right? So common friends of A and C is BE. That is correct. How about AB? Is there anyone common? No. A and B, they are friends, of course. But is there a common friend, the third common friend? Then the answer is No. So please check this. I may have created this using program. I don't remember. But if this is wrong, please correct it. Okay. Find out if there is any typing mistake or any other logical error. So basically, you even don't need to show these things finally. Your program needs to show this kind of outcome, saying friend B and E are mutual to AC, or you can say A and C are having B as common friends. That way, B and D has a common friend. Is that correct? B and D. Yes, it is correct, right? Then how about BE? So B and E. So AC. Okay. Cross check exhaustively. Okay, I may not have correct outcome here. I'm not certain. So D and E, yeah, A is correct. So that way it is right. But how about this? Are these all empty? Have I covered all the combinations? If not, I have to do that. So there's actually a benefit because I am not interested in these lines. There is a benefit. Okay, I may not actually have to check all the friends one after another. I mean, I may not need to check all of them. I may only check whichever are uh, having in the list. We'll talk about it. Anybody try to solve this problem? Anybody try to solve this problem in MapReduce paradigm? If not program, at least some solution on paper. Anybody try doing that? How will you generate key value pairs? I think I will only be able to take up that. So nobody tried yet. So that means I still have to keep this later. Let me move on to the next topic, categorizing books. Okay, this is a very simple topic, but we will learn to do this using MapReduce, which is, for example, this is the input. Okay, which is what? How do I open it? Which is what? Nothing but line by line. It says line 1, 350 pages. Book 2, 250 pages. Book 3, 150 pages. Book 4, 450 pages. Book 5, 120 pages. You just have to tell me how many large books are there and how many small books are there. And then there may be some boundary, which is what? I don't know what is the boundary I have fixed as a 300. So if a book is having 300 above count, then we will consider it as a big or large book. And otherwise, we'll consider it as a small book. So imagine you have, data for millions of books. Okay. Line by line, it only shows the page count, not page number, the page count. And you just have to tell me how many big books are there or large books are there and how many small books are there. So this aim is categorizing books. It is simple. Any idea how will you solve this? Again, you have to apply MapReduce framework. Okay, and you have to actually think how will you achieve this. So what outcome do I want? I want something like this. See, big books, there are 2 big books, and small books, there are 3 small books. For the given input, maybe this, I want outcome as this. So input is understood, output is understood. Now the thing is, how will I achieve that, right? So it's 320, so I will not go further. So both of these problem statements have been explained. The solution is still yet to be discussed, but I want solution from you. Okay, otherwise it's like spoon feeding. So think of this both aims prior to next lecture for sure, because then we will have to conclude these topics. Okay, so think of both of these aims. How will you, if required, write program also, MapReduce if you are comfortable. Okay, with Hadoop, Java, right? So with that, oops, I will stop here. Okay.